Hello, and welcome back to Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Today, I should be finishing... I don't press that twice. I should be finishing the G rank 1 quests, key quests. And probably the urgent. There's one key quest and one urgent. And I think it should be just fine. There's no Cephadrome to body check me. I have check. It's not a body check. They're way too above. Just a water fight? It's kind of a weird name. Very simple. Water fight and a Baroth. I don't think I enjoy Baroth in this installment, but I can't remember it, even high rank version of it, being annoying. Just it's not very interesting. I didn't actually check the location. Let's see how it goes. So Misty Peaks I think is not hot or cold, so I think I'm fine. Perfect free start. But like I've been doing for the last few episodes, I'm going to be playing while doing my best to just focus on something else, anything else. Which has mostly been role-playing games, specifically the rules of role-playing games recently, but because those are what have been appealing to me recently. But I could think of something else to try to talk about. I could talk about board games. Not that I've played a variety of board games in the last many years. I should try to cut the tail. I forgot about... I'm bad. Okay, no Tokai. But one board game that a section of my immediate family has been getting together to play occasionally has been a Pandemic Legacy, which is a sort of it is a sustained playthrough of Pandemic, where it is not replayable, easily at least, but you're playing through a year of Pandemic, which is a board game. To me, it's sort of a classic. Not a classic, but I was too slow because I had to take my right hand off to spin the joystick quickly because my left hand doesn't do that as well because I'm right-handed, so it's harder. So I couldn't get back in time to dive. Very bad start. I'm gonna restart. Because dying this early is not fun, because if I die 2 more times, it's really bad. Bad start. But regardless, Pandemic Legacy is interesting. Obviously, no spoilers. If I see anything talking about Pandemic Legacy, I'll just ignore it, because there's sort of a story and twists and stuff to it. Not really a story, but stuff gets unlocked, stuff changes as the game progresses through months, which is interesting. There's you can upgrade your team of people as you play. You clear a mission, you can upgrade one of the units. I don't want to say anything specific because saying too much could reveal information that could, to an extent, spoil some facet of the game. Not that anyone's gonna care, but it's better safe than sorry. The upgrade system is not something that can be spoiled, at least as far as I'm aware, because the actual sheet of upgrades is shown right away. But there's But there are interesting elements to this that makes reasonably effective use of the fact that you'll probably only play through it once. And if it's 12 months, it's about... You can fail a couple times and still continue playing. You don't lose, but... If it's 12 months, it's about... If you played it and never lost, and you clear months instantly every time, then 12 play sessions before the game is over, and you can't really play it again without having to put an effort, because you're actually using stickers and stuff to make changes. You could play it, but you would know what's coming and it wouldn't be the same. But 12 sessions of, I don't know, 2 hours-ish each? Maybe between 1 and 3 is a vague estimate. It's not really a lot of playtime. Good, I landed on the other side, which is why I didn't attack. I wanted to try to land where I wanted. But I mean, board games are like generally built around, you could play these forever, like an infinite number of repetitions, but they will get boring eventually. And frankly, base Pandemic, I don't love it. Mostly because it's... Even this version is kind of annoying. It's just, as a board game, it's a cooperative board game. So it's not like, you know, competing against other people. Hence the term cooperative. But you can just lose through sort of no fault of your own, which is not my favorite type of gameplay element. I love Ludroth. I love 2 Ludroth. I'm just gonna sit away. I need to bring dung bombs moving forward. I really need to bring them. I did get healed though from my buddy. That's nice. But yeah, I'm not a fan of like, oh, you could basically get like double. You could get, so it's a semi-random, it's somewhat balanced, but you could just get, you'd have to know the rules for this to make sense. You could just get 2 epidemic cards in a row in like a bad scenario, which you should be under control. So it's like not that likely to just be super unlucky, but you could just get incredibly unlucky at really bad timing, get 2 epidemic cards in a row. You happen to have, I'd have to explain a lot more about this game. It's not really a good topic, but like from the bottom of the deck you draw City Washington. For the first epidemic, you flip it, you roll, you don't roll, you know, reshuffle the cards. Then if you drew Washington right away, and I think Chicago's connected to Washington in this context of the game. If Chicago even exists. I might be thinking of Chicago for another reason. Totally unrelated. Oh, good. Like, oh, then you draw those 2, so you have 3 tokens on Washington and 1 on Chicago. Then your next epidemic, from the bottom of the deck you draw... Actually, you couldn't draw Chicago. That'd be impossible. Because that's not how it works. You draw Montreal, which is connected to the other 2. Then you have to reshuffle, and the only cards that can be drawn are Chicago, Washington, and Montreal. So you draw Washington, which causes it to outbreak, which chains to Montreal, which causes Montreal to outbreak. Both of those bring Chicago to 3 tokens. They're not tokens, they're cubes. It brings it to 3. You draw... I think you only drew 1 place up, and then you draw Montreal, which outbreaks, causing the other 2 to chain outbreak. And then you just lose in 1 turn. Like, it's basically impossible for that to happen. but it is technically possible. And you'd have to be insanely unlucky. But I do not enjoy the idea that that could happen, because if it did, I would be amazed, and then I would never want to play that game ever again, even if it's almost impossible for it to happen. There might be some rule that I'm missing that would make it impossible, but I'm pretty sure it's completely possible. Again, there's elements in play that mitigate. I forgot to remove the flash. Finally it did something. It's trying to keep itself relevant. But there's elements to mitigate it. Those sorts of things being possible are kind of not ideal. It's kind of off-putting. And like it's sort of different when it's the type of thing that's in a cooperative game, because then bad luck, everybody loses. It's still annoying if one person gets super duper lucky and wins because of it in other games, but something feels worse about, oh, you're working together as 4 people, you just lose because you get unlucky. Now, again, it's predominantly a game where if you make the correct decisions, it will go better. And like there's, at least the legacy version, I don't know if the normal version is the same rules, it's been a very long time since I played it. Like it does space out the epidemic cards so that there's sort of an expected range of times in which, you know, an epidemic will occur. Like the deck is split into 5, 1 is shuffled into each section, then they're stacked up in order. But if it's the bottom of one deck, top of another, you can get them one after another. I don't know. I wonder if the deck is probably too small for them to implement, for them to have a rule about like having an extra layer of cards between each of the shuffled segments, because then that would make it more predictable, which would, I think, be kind of fun, but it would make it less replayable, it would make it less, frankly, maybe not realistic, but so a lot of the elements to the game are about sort of the realistic, it is kind of realistic, not like, you know, simulation realistic, but the fact that every time an epidemic occurs, you shuffle using within the cards that you already had. When the epidemic itself occurs, it's a totally new city, which is sort of representing like, oh, a new epidemic has there's been an outbreak in a new city. Which is, that shouldn't have hit, I was clearly above it. I need to ignore this game again. Continue ignoring the game. Like, it's sort of an outbreak, and then everywhere that already has, you know, cases of the virus, it just continues here. Like, that makes sense. It makes it stressful, and it feels kind of silly, because I think in an average game you go through, at most, like, a quarter or a fifth of the deck, or the cities in that context. Like, you're never going to see most of it. Not that seeing it means anything, it's just cities on a map. But it does feel silly when there's a deck of a bunch of cards and you only ever go through the top 20% of it at most. Yeah, I think, if I understand correctly, I don't think it's possible to go through more than 20% of the deck without, like, specific, you know, cards or modifiers or something. I hate that this Ludroth is going to the exact same spaces one after the other. It's incredibly frustrating. It's kind of like the chain death example in Pandemic that I made up. It just, I mean, it might not be. It might be designed so that they chase each other. But if it's not, then it's just sort of bad luck repeatedly. Just compounding bad luck. I need to not pay attention to this game though, because otherwise I'll be negative. Annoying. Yeah, board games are... I've played a lot of board games in a long time. Because there's so many that exist. Like, I can't remember the last time I played, like, Monopoly. Not a great game. I mean, even as a kid, it was never unfun. There's another board game that felt very old. I mean, even playing it, 15 plus years ago. Somewhere between 15 and 20 years ago. It was called Careers, and it was all about you had a job. I don't remember how it played. I just remember that you had a job. Different than life. Life, the job is not the primary gameplay. Like, in some element of Careers, which is just the name of it. That's annoying. It's just, you got a job at the start of the game, or you got a career at the start of the game, and that sort of was a big part of it. Even... Like, I have a feeling that that game probably would have been from my parents, probably my dad's childhood. Like, it was old, and the box was falling apart 20 years ago. I've seen it, like, the box in a long time. Even, you know. I need to not focus on the game. That was very lucky and unlucky. Like, the attack it chose was unlucky because I'm wet and I can't roll. Beyond the one roll I did. And I was just in a terrible position for it. But it was lucky that my roll gave me the invulnerability to escape. I hate inventory in this game. I need to ignore the game, don't complain. I can complain about other games. I can complain about the game of life. Or I can complain about how, I think when playing Life, one time cousins were visiting, they were like very blatantly trying to cheat, like saying this is how the game works, when we knew that's not how the game worked because we had played it a lot. I don't know if it was Life, it might have been a different game entirely. It could have been Careers for all I know. In which case, if it was Careers, then they were like, they had probably never played it and they were making it up, and we had played it. Yeah, they're few years... Oh, one of them was... The wrong button. 3 years older than me. One of them was 5 or 6 years older, and the other cousin was even more. And they were insisting on cheating with their younger cousins. Like, both my siblings are younger than all of them. Of course, they were relatively young. Though given the fact that I have memory of it, I'm not very specific memory of it, but I do remember the time. They were probably, like the oldest was probably a teenager, and they were insisting on not following the rules, or not telling the others, at least, to, you know, this is not how it works. Like, cheating against people that are children is pretty silly. Now, I do think making up rules can be fine, if it's for the fun of the other people. But if it's just to benefit yourself, it's just a goofy way to play a board game. I was over it. Ignore the game. I'll be frustrated if I pay attention. That, just briefly while I'm paying attention to the game. That roll, I think, goes further in Master Rank, which is kind of cool. It might also be faster, which is kind of neat. It's a fairly minor change, though, which is kind of boring on an already relatively boring monster to actually fight. I should mount it soon, I think. Too slow on the roll. Not that I could have been faster, but... Ignore the game. What other fun board games? There was a board game that I think I tried to play once with my brother. We set it up and then we quit basically instantly. Because it was a, you know, competitive, fighting each other. PvP. Not a cooperative, not a friendly game. Like, some space game. With tons of little pips to represent, like, populations of star systems or something. I bet I could figure out its name. Yes, I think it's called 4000 AD. Wait, board game. It does say like interstellar conflict game or something in its title. Which, conflict, not necessarily the best for kids to fight. Not that conflict is bad, it's just kind of weak when you're already one or both of them are sore losers. Really, ignore the game, because stuff like that will frustrate me if I pay too much attention. It's a board game that was published in 1972. That is pretty old. Not the oldest. Just reading the Wikipedia description, which is 4000 AD is a game of conquest and expansion for 2 to 4 players that uses no dice or random elements. Players conquer star systems, then use the star's resources to build more ships. How has it not been mounted yet? Is it somehow immune? Or did I mount it earlier? Oh, there's a bug on the screen. I have to get rid of that. A flying bug, because it flew away already, but it'll be annoying if it keeps moving. Okay, please stop. I want to read more about 4000 AD, this game that I never actually played. There's something about warp star movement, where you know the point that a ship leaves from, but you don't know where it's going. You know its time of departure. The fact that you track its time of departure says something. It's a majority rules combat, which feels very Risk, except with no randomness. Risk is an interesting game. Interesting in that I enjoyed it as a kid. I think I would find it insufferable to play now. Because it's not pure randomness, but you can just roll poorly and lose, which is why it's random, so it's not just predictable. If it's predictable, then it would be a lot of stuff would just be a foregone conclusion. There would be perfect strategies to the game. It would probably be a solved game. It might already be a solved game to give the best chance of winning, but kind of like, I think chess counts or would be defined as a solved game, but the best example of a solved game is tic-tac-toe. I mean, the fact that chess can have like machine moves, it's like this is the optimal move at this point in time, means it has to be solved, I think. Because oh, I was hoping to bounce, but I didn't. Because if there is no optimal move at every, if the game has not been solved, then there would be no way to just know this is well, I guess you could know optimal based on like probabilities. Like, this is the best choice because this. But I still assume that it's probably solved. Where I don't know if it's changed, but at some point in time, it's like Go was really hard for computers to play because there's just so much. There are so many things to consider. It's probably changed with, you know, changes in computing in the last decade, where it's probably much easier to you know, simulate. Where computer chess play has been around for a long time. Relatively speaking, it's been around for a long time. Relative to the history of chess, it hasn't been around that long, I'm pretty sure. Oop. I don't like this attack. It's a huge waste of time, and it's not as interesting as Tigrex running. I guess I'm not doing the second hunt today, because this is taking a very long time. Oh, I guess I'll do barrel tomorrow. Oh, it hopped back, avoiding my jump, meaning I got hit. Unfortunate. It's interesting to read about how this very specific board game, like, it was published in the UK. It was also published bilingual for sale in Canada, and a German language edition. Like, a bilingual version, a German version, and a British version. That's it, seemingly. There's a different Parker Brothers licensed edition that was German as well. Oh, the reception section in the Wikipedia page is pretty funny. Anything here? I'm just more focused on hunting this while trying to read the rule, not the rules, but the judgments. Rationale, bunch of rules. Wait, what? Where? Oh, it's this section always confuses me based on looking at the map. Some group, whatever, called Games. But 4000 AD in its top 100 games of 1986. It just feels weird to me. From like a now point of view, to see stuff reviewed like 40 years ago. It's just remarkable. That was annoying. But yeah, reading these sections is kind of interesting. It's like some John Freeman for the complete book of war games, which means this game is a war game, I guess. A tense contest for those who like their games devoid of chance but not of surprises is kind of interesting. It's neat to look at this type of thing. I want to see if there's... Oh, yeah, obviously. 1986. Of course it's magazines. It's not... There's not going to be websites that it links to directly. Ooh, that was pretty good. You have to pay attention while trying to read. It's a bit difficult. I'm trying to see what the citations link to for stuff like that. Like whether there's a online version that exists. Oh no, it is referencing a specific edition of The Space Gamer, which was a... magazine that was... The first issue was in 1975. The final issue was in 1985? 96 issues in 10 years? Kind of interesting. I wonder why it went out of business. Assuming it went out of business. Oh no. Interesting. No, they stopped because it's just a lot of effort to produce a magazine. They sold Space Gamer to someone else. They ceased publication in 85. Oops, I didn't know what I'm trying to read. Plus, apparently it has kept going, sort of. Just under different companies. Steve Jackson Games started republishing back issues in PDF format in 2010. Very specific, very niche. I love these super niche things. It's just kind of interesting. Like... Huh? So this game's monthly publication has this 4000 AD as 1980 games 100, 1981 games 100, 1982 games 100. It's like, is that saying that 8 years after its original publishing, it was within the top 100 games just all around for 3 years running, according to them? Maybe they only started publishing in 1980. No, they started at least in 78. Oh no, started in 77. And this Games World of Puzzles magazine thing was originally owned by Playboy. That's a weird connection to make. I mean, it was, you know, magazines and all that, so maybe that's why it makes sense, but... That's weird. Oh, I guess I can talk to this to get the urgent quest to do next time. Baroth, desert, to be expected. That was fun. Next time, I will do that quest, and nothing more, I'll just do that quest. But I'm gonna continue by deep diving I mean looking at the Wikipedia pages that stem off of Games World of Puzzles and 4000 AD because Games World of Puzzles is part of Kappa Publishing Group, which is 70 years old. And I kind of want to see where I can get from there. They publish Pro Wrestling Illustrated and Horoscope Guide. But Horoscope Guide doesn't have a link within Wikipedia, which means that it doesn't exist enough for someone to have bothered to make a Wikipedia page about it. But Pro Wrestling Illustrated has a picture of Hulk Hogan on the front for the Wikipedia page for 1986. Interesting. That's going to be fun to me. Maybe no one else in the world will find it fun, but I will enjoy myself next time hunting Baroth. So, have a nice day. Bye.